friends, it's Liv and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. If you are, hi, my name is Liv. It is so nice to finally meet you. So we are at a very interesting point in time right now, whether we are in isolation, quarantine, or even on lockdown. It can kind of be scary and I really hope you guys are staying safe. But because of this, I wanted to create a new series for you guys where I recommend different books of different genres. Some genres very broad, some more niche than others. But the first genre I want to talk about today is fantasy. So I really wanted to make this video for you guys today with some of my personal fantasy favorites that if you're stuck at home looking for something to do, maybe you can give one of these a try and I hope it will help you out. So I have a number of series for you today. One of them is middle grade and the rest are young adults. I really hope to do more videos like this in the future in case it helps any of you out. That is my goal with this. I would love to help anyone who's struggling with the situation. But without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about the middle grade series that I have for you today, and it is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, which is the first in a, I believe, 5-book series following our main character Morgan Crow. And Morgan has been told from the day she was born that she's cursed to die on her 11th birthday. However, on her 11th birthday, she is saved by a man named Jupiter North and whisked away to this magical land called Nevermore, where she is set to participate in a magical competition in order to earn her place among the Wondrous Society. If you are looking for a book to really kind of take yourself out of this world, transport yourself into a new one that is just so fun and whimsical, I cannot stress this enough that this is the book for you. I could not stop laughing during this book. I would love to just transport myself into Nevermore for a day. There's a trolley where you have an umbrella and you just jump up, hook yourself onto the trolley, and jump down when you're done. I thought that was so fun. I'm a sucker for the magical competition trope as well, so this was a really perfect read for me. I want to say this was my first 5-star read of 2019. I have heard a lot of people say that this is supposedly like the next Harry Potter, and I can completely understand why people think that, not in the sense that it's ripping off a series that we all know and love, but it's got that like whimsical new world aspect that I think we all fell in love with in the original book series. So I cannot stress this enough. If you like that kind of whimsical, like, new world escapism, then Nevermore is the book for you. And now moving on to the young adult series. The first one I want to talk about today is the first in a 4-book series, and the first book is Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. Three Dark Crowns is set in this matriarchal queendom, where a goddess blesses the current queen with 3 triplets, and upon giving birth, the queen and her husband will depart to the mainland from the island, and the 3 triplets are raised until the age of 6. One is a naturalist, one is a poisoner, and one is an elementalist, and when they turn 6, they are separated and given to these separate families to really kind of hone in on their talents until the girls turn 16 and come back for this fall festival where they begin kind of a battle to the death, and the last one standing gets the crown. This is a very dark fantasy following the plot of the stories. However, there's a lot more playing at stake. There's great family relationships that are being shown here and the development of these relationships. We really get to see the 3 sisters individually as they are. It's told from these 3 points of view as well as some other points of view. I think the chapters are really interesting because it doesn't tell you necessarily who the chapter is about, but rather the location that it takes place in, which I thought was super interesting. It's something I've never seen personally in a book before, but this book, from the moment the action started to pick up in it, it honestly hooked me. I remember thinking the book, I was like, oh, it's kind of slow a little bit for like the first 100 pages, but as soon as the action started, I finished the book that night. I flew through it, picked up the next one, flew through that. I marathoned all 4 books in a little under 2 months, which is very rare for me. So if you're looking for something that's really gripping and like it will grab you and not let go, then I cannot recommend Three Dark Crowns enough. And the next series I want to talk about is the first of a 7-book series that I'm sure you all knew was gonna pop up in this video sooner or later, but it is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Throne of Glass follows our main character Selena, who is the kingdom's most feared assassin, and she has been caught and served the last year in a prison camp until she is rescued by the prince and brought to the palace because the king has decided he is in need of a new champion, and he's decided to make a competition out of it. So each one of his cabinet members has to pick a champion of their own, whether it's a thief, an assassin, an old soldier, anything, and they have to compete for the title of champion. And if Selena wins the competition, and serves on the king's court for 4 years, she will earn her freedom. The plot has evolved so much since this first book. These 7 books are absolutely wonderful. I cannot get enough of this series. Again, I mentioned how worn this book looks, but with absolutely great reason. This is my favorite book of all time. I absolutely love Sarah J Maas and everything she writes. So if you're looking for a new series to get into, kind of marathon the whole thing, if you're a person who likes to marathon series start to finish and haven't given this one a try yet, then I strongly encourage you to do so. So sticking with the theme of the magical competition, which if you don't know, I'm absolutely a sucker for, and I've noticed that a lot of these have that. Was not my original intention, but here we are. So the next book I want to talk about is The Novice by Taryn Mathereau, which is the start of the Summoner series. Honestly, the best way I can describe this book is that it's Harry Potter meets Pokemon, but with demons. It is truly that epic. It follows our main character Fletcher, who he really doesn't know who he is. He was raised from birth by the blacksmith in their town after he was left out in the snow. And when Fletcher is 16, I want to say, he discovers that he is a summoner. And after fleeing an accidental attempted murder, then Fletcher is recruited into this academy to compete for a spot among their students. I think this is a great cast of characters that are all really developed, and I really want to know just so much more about each of them and their individual lives. The politics are really interesting here in the way that humans and other kind of humanoid creatures interact in their places in society. So that was really well developed. I absolutely loved the second book. It really kind of like, I was on my toes for the majority of it. And it's not, without giving too much away, it's not necessarily a setting that should keep, it kind of keeps you on your toes, but it's not like that magical setting that should keep you on your toes, if that makes sense. But it absolutely gripped me. I loved it. This is a series I really don't hear many people talk about, so if you haven't read it, then maybe this is your chance. And I really think that, again, if you like Harry Potter, if you like Pokemon, this is something you are going to love. Going back to Sarah J Maas, we do have her other trilogy that I do want to discuss today, and it is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is essentially a Beauty and the Beast retelling following our main character Feyre, who is a huntress, and one day in the woods she kills a wolf that turns out to be a member of the Fae, which is punishable by death. So as recompense for the murder, her family is attacked by a beast, and Feyre agrees to go with him and live out the rest of her days in the land of the Fae. I really loved Feyre as a main character. I think the setting is really interesting. Sarah J Maas her writing can get wild, and if you've read this book, you know what I mean when I say that some scenes in here I was like, what? Like, it's wild. But I really loved it. I still need to pick up the second book, and I'm hoping to do so here in the next few weeks because I loved the first book, and I've heard a lot of people say that the second book is like their favorite book of all time. So there's a lot of hype to live up to, and frankly I'm kind of scared, but I think I'm ready for it. And the last book I want to talk about today is kind of different from the general fantasy setting, and it is Karaball by Stephanie Garber, which is the first book in a trilogy. Inside the world of Karaball, we do have a game that is put on every year by this figure being called Legend. No one knows really who he is, what he looks like, but every year it's just this mystical game, and the winner of the game gets a wish. The story follows our two sisters, Scarlett and Tella, and Scarlett has spent her entire life wanting to escape the clutches of their cruel father and go to Karaball. So when they get a chance to, Scarlett is whisked away by her sister and this handsome stranger named Julian. And upon getting to Karaball, Julian and Scarlett discover that Tella has gone missing, and whoever can find her will win the game. If you were looking for a book that is very plot twist driven, plot twist based, I cannot stress enough that this is the book for you, because it really leads on plot twists, and my head was actually kind of spinning reading this, trying to figure out what was real, what wasn't, because it does say on the cover, remember, it's only a game. So your mind will play tricks on you, and it's really interesting. I think she wrote the plot twist really, really well, where you really don't know what's real and what's not. So again, if this is something that's something you really look for in books, then behold, I have found the book for you. Alright, and there you have it, guys. These were some of my favorite fantasy recommendations in order to help you through this stay-at-home, quarantine, whatever we want to call this situation that we're in right now. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot stress this enough. I really hope you guys are being safe. Please, please wash your hands. Again, I cannot stress that enough. Thank you again so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel down below if you haven't already. You can also hit that bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video, because I do upload every Monday and every Thursday on this channel, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks again so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.